Welcome on in, Heat Nation. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. We got the news that we were waiting on regarding Terry Rozier and Josh Richardson. First, we'll start off with J. Rich. J. Rich, the report initially from Shams was that he suffered a dislocated right shoulder. There's not a definitive timetable for his return. Miami Herald reporting that he's going to be evaluated in a couple of weeks. Did look really gnarly when it went down for J. Rich, and of course, it is his shooter's arm. So that is something that you got to continue to monitor. But it does seem like he will make a return at some point. J. Rich was, I think, shooting over 40% from three over the last couple of months. And so you get really good news there in regards to one of your backup guards, one of your defensive stoppers. You know, Spo trusts him, and I think that was definitely great to hear in regards to J. Rich. But I think Terry Rozier, with the trade that they had just made, with what the impact they were hoping that he was going to give them, I think we were all waiting with, just a little bit on edge with what this was going to be. And it turns out the results seem to be pretty positive. First of all, you have Scary Terry himself, who decides to post himself as Wolverine, or post a picture of Wolverine on his Instagram, which, leads you to believe that he is, and I don't think he's just excited for the Deadpool Wolverine crossover. I think that he is, pleased that he is going to be back in a relatively short amount of time. The Miami Heat thankfully do have an all-star break coming up here. They got a couple of games that they're going to have to get through this. We'll talk about the rotation here in just a second, mentioned in another video, but where things will likely be, and if the Heat do go and make any moves with this, this timetable, I would see that being less likely to do something dramatic. But with Terry, it's reported that he has a knee sprain and that he is going to be, it's a week-to-week prognosis. But there is, fodder out there, and there's reports from Ira Winderman. Of course, Ira been doing it longer than anybody with the Miami Heat. And he had said on Twitter, legitimate optimism today with Rozier, could be back after or shortly after the Heat's 8-day All-Star break. And that is the one good thing with the new All-Star break is the Heat have this week to get through, and then they don't get back in action until late next week on the road. I think in New Orleans is where they return. But that was pretty great to hear. He did, hedge on it a little bit. That he can be a little bit cautious on it for sure. But that was the good news is it does seem like it is in a really, really great spot with Terry Rozier, which leads me to believe with him putting up the Wolverine, saying this is maybe a post All-Star break return, it would lead me to believe something really drastic. I almost have a slip there because I was going Dragic. Drastic Dragic move. Unlikely to happen, I would say. Don't even know if there's going to be a buyout. I would say if they're going to go any direction with this, maybe it is bringing a Jamari Bouye, who they really like. Maybe it's bringing RJ Hampton back. I got to check. Has he gone anywhere, RJ Hampton? Has anybody scooped RJ Hampton up? Was there hard feelings about it? I'm not really sure. Don't see anything new on RJ as far as if he's returning to Sioux Falls or anything like that. But that could definitely be a possibility because he's already familiar with it and he's already played a little bit with the Miami Heat. And then, Alondas Williams getting the call up that he did, it could be one of those where he is in that bench role. The thing that's going to be interesting with this rotation is where things stand. We talked a little bit about this in the initial injury video that I did. I do think that, scoping over the landscape, the likeliest candidates to start for Miami is they'll keep Caleb, they'll keep Jaime, but with no Jimmy, it still throws another wrinkle into things. Now with no Terry, you kind of have to feel like, all right, what is our backcourt? I guess technically in this regard, the backcourt would be Jaime and Tyler, and then your front court would be Bam, Caleb as basically your small forward. And then I think they just go back to Nikola Jovic starting at power forward and rolling from there. One, he can facilitate a little bit. We know that he can bring that relief from Bam on a rebounding standpoint if you need more playmaking from Bam now that Terry Rozier is out and Jimmy is going to miss. It is confirmed that he is going to miss these last couple of games as he has his absence from the team. So I think that's the most likely scenario of the way they could go. I suppose they could start Duncan Robinson too, and you could give Nico some minutes off the bench. I just feel like for his standpoint, he is comfortable in that starting role. Him and Bam comfortable together. There's a familiarity there. Just seems to make a lot more sense. Duncan, you can kind of plug it anywhere. Now, I should mention, though, Duncan Robinson, questionable for the Bucks game because of this rat bastard injury that happened to him with Jaylen Brown, who decided to go, full Jacare Souza on him with a Kimura lock to just throw him down and into the stands. And he's like, "Oh, but he won't do that again." All right, dude. Congratulations. You're a real hero. So he's listed on the injury report for tomorrow as questionable with a left shoulder elbow sprain. And Anthony Chang does clarify. It says the Duncan Robinson injury is a result of yesterday's incident with Jaylen Brown. They are going to have Alondas Williams and Cole Swider as part of the Heat, so we could have the Swider man making a big-time appearance for Miami. But this is going to be a classic over these next couple of games. We have enough from Eric Spoelstra. Like, this is going to be one of his where he's going to get to take this mishmash of the starting lineup with some G League guys. I love a little Jamal Cain in my life. I love the fact that we might get some Cain train in there. The dude is an absolute magnet for putbacks and offensive rebounds and energy and just exudes really one of my favorite, I think one of my favorite young guys that doesn't get the action. I think he could actually make a real impact. And whenever the next turnover is of somebody else gone, the minutes that Jay Rich or Caleb get, I think Jamal Cain's going to fit in there just fine. Should he not get poached by anybody. I really like Jamal Cain a lot. I'm excited to see him get some run tomorrow against the Milwaukee Bucks. Big team. That's another thing why I think like a Nikola Jovic could be useful. And you play a little point Jovi. You put him out there. You let him get on the fast break. You let him facilitate a little bit. He always likes getting his teammates involved. It's natural for him. This is not a guy who goes out there seeking a ton of shots. And I would love I would love for him to get, a couple more games here because let's be honest, we went into this week and I'm not saying the wins aren't important. They're important for sure, but it is a little bit of a, let's throw some stuff out there. Let's get weird. If I'm Eric Spoelstra these next couple of games, let's get weird. Continue to run the hub through everything from Bam and Tyler. Tyler really had a great second half, and you hope that he could ride the momentum of that. I love some of the crazy-ass shots that Tyler was taking in that game. I want to see more of that from Tyler, quite frankly. And I want to see more of Bam just barreling down and bullying his way to the free throw line. I think that is the best version of Bam Adebayo. Mix in the jumper every now and then. But I love a Bam Adebayo who just puts his head down and, just can't be contained. I think when you bail them out and you give them the deer in headlights, you don't have to deal with the physical force that is Bam Adebayo. I think defenses are they love that. So it's going to be an interesting couple of games for sure, but ultimately great news on Terry Rozier. I think is the most positive thing that you could take out of this is that seems like Terry Rozier is going to be back. And the fact that stuff is leaking out from a couple outlets that it seems very positive. This is what I would say. That's odd with the Miami Heat, right? They are usually like Fort Knox when it comes to injuries. They don't like to say anything. It's all reevaluate. So the fact that is almost out there, I don't know if that's leaked. I don't know where the report, they may be getting it from Terry Rozier. They may be getting it from Terry's agent. They may be getting it from Terry's side of things. But if it is coming from the Heat, that's an oddity because they like to be very, very shh when it comes to these injuries and not say anything. But I think that it's almost a sign of, hey, All-Star break's coming up. Relax. He'll be back. We'll be back. We got this. This will be fine. Everything will be fine. J. Rich seems a little bit more severe with what happened with his shoulder, and those things can be really touch and go and dicey. But, obviously you're not expecting the same kind of production out of J. Rich that you are out of Terry. So, ultimately it is an overall positive news day, even though tomorrow you're going in very shorthanded with no Terry, no J. Rich, no Jimmy, possibly no Duncan Robinson. And we were all just enjoying having like 3 games together of everybody healthy. Wasn't that great?